They don't make games like Little Big Planet anymore. Let me explain. Little Big Planet was the only good thing that come from 2008. If you've never played it, it was a platformer game, except with the twist that it came with a built-in level editor where you could make your own levels and share it with the world. And this wasn't some rinky-dinky ass Super Mario Maker level editor. I'm talking near limitless freedom, except for the fact that the PS3 only had 256 megabytes of RAM, so you couldn't make the levels too big, I guess. But for the time, man, this was awesome. For the very first time, millions of people could create their own games, their own worlds. As a kid, I loved this game. Maybe a little too much. I must confess, when I was 6 years old, I accidentally pissed on the floor over a Little Big Planet level. I'm just kidding, it was on purpose. If you had the PlayStation Eye camera for the PS3, you could take pictures in real life and upload them to the game. So I had the brilliant idea of making a level where if you take the high path, you see good pictures, and if you take the down path, you see bad pictures. And one of those bad pictures was supposed to be my piss stream. Back then, I thought that like liquids didn't show up on camera, so I'm pretty sure I thought I was breaking new ground or some shit, but instead I just ended up pissing on the carpet. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, level making. Honestly, the level making in Little Big Planet was good, but the features they added to Little Big Planet 2, oh my god, it was game changing. Little Big Planet 2 turned what was just a place to make platforming levels into a full-on game engine. It took everything that was great about Little Big Planet 1 and just made it so much better. Then Little Big Planet 3 came out. It was just kind of mid and it was made by a different developer, so it doesn't exist in my mind. Well, actually, none of these games really exist at all anymore, at least not in the state they used to be. You see, back in 2020, hackers shut down the Little Big Planet servers. It was probably the worst thing that happened that year, but thankfully the servers came back up. But then the hackers shut down the servers again and again and again. These hackers are actually like the fucking Grinch because I doubt there was any money to be made from hacking the servers. They were just being horrible people for the love of the game. But eventually, in April of 2024, the Little Big Planet servers shut down for the final time, and they didn't come back up. And there hasn't been a game like Little Big Planet since. Now I hear what you're saying, but Will, there are plenty of games like Little Big Planet that still exist. But no, there really isn't. The first and most obvious pick that people would say is the spiritual successor to Little Big Planet would be Roblox, but I can't in good faith call it that. While Roblox does allow anyone to create games with even more possibilities than Little Big Planet, the level editor is not nearly as simple for beginners to pick up like it was in Little Big Planet. But to me, there's an even larger, overarching issue with Roblox: monetization. Now, before you go scream at me in the comments, I definitely do think that being able to monetize your games in Roblox is a good thing. Developers of Roblox games put in countless hours into making these games, and for many, it's their job. So being able to monetize it is a necessity. But what allowing monetization on Roblox does is it creates a different motive for people to create games. On Little Big Planet, there was no monetization for the creators of levels, and because of that, people just created whatever the hell they wanted. The motivation behind making a Little Big Planet level was just to create the most fun level you can. But on Roblox, the goal is to make the most profitable games you can, or at least it is for many developers. For those who have Roblox as their job, it makes way more sense to shit out a bunch of games that exploit users' attention span and incentivizes them to spend money, rather than make something that's actually fun. And things have started to get out of hand. The other day, I got really bored and started playing a random Roblox obby. It was pretty typical, until I got to a level that was unpassable unless you paid 25 Robux. This is unacceptable. Keep in mind, this was a game that was clearly targeted towards little kids, so some kid who might not even know that this is a stupid idea might actually pay the 25 Robux to continue. And who knows, there may be even more unpassable levels later in the obby that they'd have to spend even more to pass. In Little Big Planet, this was something that was impossible to happen, but in Roblox, it's seemingly pretty common. Roblox aside, I can't really seem to find any games that have the same kind of vibe that Little Big Planet had. Minecraft is pretty good, but there isn't a central place to find fun worlds to play like in Little Big Planet. Also in Minecraft, people have to host their own worlds on their own servers, which means they pretty much have to monetize. Servers aren't free, you know. Fortnite has a creative mode as well, but from what I've seen, most of the popular worlds still center around the fighting aspect of the game, and it also has monetization, but maybe it's a little bit better. I feel like once a game or social media adds a way for users to monetize what they create, a lot of spammy low-effort content gets pushed out. And I know that sounds hypocritical as fuck, coming from a guy who makes YouTube videos and gets paid for them, but I actually feel like I can relate to the creators on these other platforms. There have been times where I spent hours and hours working on a video just for it to completely flop, only for my low-effort shitpost to easily outperform it. It kind of puts you into the mindset where you should only put out low-effort content, since the more things you throw at the wall, the higher chance that something will stick. And unfortunately, shit is pretty good at sticking to walls. I once made a video in 4 hours that ended up making me $200. That's $50 an hour. That's a very well-paying job. It was from this video right here if you're interested. And while I don't think that video is that bad, it's definitely not my best work. Definitely not $50 an hour worthy. I only made it because another video I made that was similar did well. It wasn't something that I was passionate about. The point I'm trying to get at is if there's a money incentive on a platform for putting out content, you're going to get a lot of low effort spam with no passion behind it. Twitter is a platform that has always kind of sucked, but ever since they added the feature where you can get monetized for your tweets, there's been so much spam by people that aren't even real. It doesn't mean that there isn't good content on Twitter anymore, but it's just so much harder to find when it gets drowned out by the low effort engagement bait posts. Like Buffy's, I really doubt you need help thinking of a character that starts with the letter K. Honestly, I was curious on how this engagement bait stuff works, so I tried it myself, but I got nervous and it didn't make any sense. Anyway, when it comes to games where you can make creative worlds, there's still one game I know of that hasn't introduced monetization, and it's probably not the game you're thinking of. Geometry Dash is one of my favorite games of all time, and I'm pretty damn good at it too, bro. Like, look at this clip, I'm fucking crazy. But something that's even more crazy is what you're able to make it as a level editor. You can make some actually really cool looking levels. And I know it's not as interactive as, say, Roblox or Fortnite or Minecraft, but the way I've seen stories told through this game is really unique. And the best part, after you buy the game for $5, you never need to spend another penny ever again. Well, at least on the game. I mean, you'll still need to, like, you know, buy food and pay rent. And that's because there isn't any in-game monetization. People build levels simply because they're passionate about it. You'll never be stopped midway through a level and asked to pay up if you want to keep playing. And I know Geometry Dash is not as versatile a game as Roblox, and it's definitely more niche. But if you ask me what modern day game is closest to Little Big Planet, I would say Geometry Dash. Geometry Dash proves that a game can have great user content without the need for monetization, but it still isn't Little Big Planet. While I've made my fair share of memories playing this game, and woken up a fair share of my family, it still doesn't feel like Little Big Planet when I play. It's a completely different game. I can't boot up Geometry Dash and work together with my friends to complete a level like you could in Little Big Planet. And that's something I feel is missing from the gaming space. A game where you can play through cool interactive worlds with your friends without having microtransactions shoved in your face. A game where the motive behind creating is your own passion and not money. What's sad is I really doubt there will ever be another game like Little Big Planet ever again, as making a game where there's no user monetization while simultaneously competing against the largest game in the world seems like an uphill battle. But if you do know of a game that is exactly like what I'm talking about, please let me know in the comments, because I need another game to sink 8,000 hours in. Also, please subscribe. Bye.